We are back again. Do you still watch wrestling? Is definitely in the house. I'm your boy and host, Dashiki Dash, and I'm here with my co-host, my boy, my partner in crime, Kojo is in the building.
Yo.
What's going on, my brother? It was a
Yeah,
bit
man.
weird, man. I was trying to start off really hype, but as you can see in the background there, man,
Yeah.
our brother Virgil has sadly passed. But before we get into everything, just make sure that you lot like, comment, and subscribe. Help us to do all that jazz. We do need your help in order to obviously build the show in itself. Kojo, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. Yeah, a bit the same, to be fair. It's always kind of, I think when you don't really know, I guess you wouldn't call them celebrities, you don't know celebrities like that, but, when they've had some sort of level of impact, especially considering us, we're wrestling fans, black wrestlers, especially back then, the impact that he had was huge. So, yeah, man, it's a bit of a somber one, but we'll celebrate him. We ain't gonna cry. We'll only celebrate him and remember the good stuff. And the guy was a character, man. So, so yeah, man, let's do the
100%.
thing.
I think you got it spot on, bang on in regards to, we don't know these celebrities per se, but the impact that they have on us and what they dedicate to their craft and their life to entertain us. Obviously, it goes without saying it is a point of celebration. So for the show in itself, do you still watch wrestling? We're going to be celebrating Virgil as he's passed. We'll also be looking into the legacy of black wrestlers as a whole. Maybe just finding out, between ourselves, the impact that some of the black wrestlers that have made for us. And we're going to also talk about the Elimination Chamber. That's the recap. So Elimination Chamber that happened in Australia, Perth. Which is obviously setting up nicely for the road to WrestleMania. And then we're going to go into the Raw and Smackdown recaps. So that's the agenda for the show today. So let's start by, let's celebrate Virgil. What's your first, memories or, visuals of Virgil? Who was Virgil? For those that might not know who Virgil is.
How far back are we going? This is before I was born, so I'll try and go off as much knowledge as I have. Let's see. So he was Soul Train Jones, Memphis, Tennessee. I think the Hummer was Memphis, Tennessee Wrestling, or what the company was, but it came through before he went to the WWE, WWF, where he was Ted DiBiase's bodyguard. I think that'd be the most common thing everyone knows him for.
Yeah.
Obviously, his crowning moment was when he turned on Ted DiBiase in it, and I think he eventually even won the $1 million championship as well. So, you have story there, and that's obviously big because I think you said it before we went on the show. The role that he played, even though the role was named as a bodyguard, really and truly, he was the one that was taking the fall for DiBiase all the time. Anytime DiBiase wanted to get away, Virgil would be the fall guy, he'd get beaten up for him. Yeah. And he's respected by him. Eventually, he got pissed off and, he did his thing. So that would be the most that I think people remember him for. But other than that, he's been involved in some of that great rivalry, whether he's been a partner with these people or not. The names like Bret Hart, he was in WCW. He had the stint in WWE again, I think in 2010 for 2 weeks. He's actually appeared in AEW as well. The guy's legacy, it stretches, man. Because he's highly respected. He's a character. He was never afraid to say what he thought. If you go back and watch some of his interviews, if you think, I don't know, Cat Williams one was good. Trust me, for wrestling fans anyway, Virgil's one is very, very interesting. But no, he's a character that be missed, man. It's always weird when you lose a personality of that scale. So. Yeah, man. I don't know what else to add, really. I think more than anything, if anyone wants to recognize him and, know him for something that was best, I think it would be when he turned on Ted DiBiase, because that was at the moment where he became a mega face, a mega star, and really appreciated by the fans there. I think they're all waiting for that crowning moment, and wrestling is scripted, but it's up to the wrestlers to deliver it. And he did he deliver. So yeah, man, kudos to him. Honestly, kudos to him.
All right. So my earliest memories of Virgil watching wrestling as a young boy was always like, who is this guy? Who is this guy that never talks and he's protecting Ted DiBiase, the $1 million man, and he was so menacing. He was a person that you knew to yourself. Like when DiBiase, the $1 million man, was in the ring, he was fully protected. This was like the bodyguard of bodyguards. This was like before your Diesels, or Shawn Michaels had his like kind of henchman basically, and that's exactly what Virgil was, a henchman. But even at my tender young age, there was always something about that character that I knew, like, I know that they're portraying it as like a henchman or whatnot, but it almost had like I don't want to, it's going to be controversial what I'm going to say, but I didn't want to say like a slave kind of what's it called, but it was like more like a, like a house boy kind of, you do whatever I want, you at my will. But the dynamics, obviously, in that time, in the what we say, late 80s, 90s, with the fact that you're not seeing many black wrestlers and the kind of role that he took, it didn't really sit well with me. And I think this is why so many people were so happy with the uprising and the fact that when he did turn, it's like I'm not taking this anymore kind of moment in it. From Virgil, but not to tarnish the work that he did, he played that role brilliantly well. Like, for you to be a wrestler or an entertainer and you don't have much dialogue and everything that you emit is based on your body language, your acting ability, you know what I mean? Like when he stepped into place, you just knew to yourself, oh damn, this is Virgil. He's gonna be involved somehow. But the storyline and how it unwinded and how it unfolded, where he basically turned on the $1 million man, it came to a point where he just couldn't take it no more. The $1 million man was just literally just going like overboard in the somewhat abuse, basically, like, telling him what to do, shoving him around, pushing him around. And then Virgil just cracked. I can't remember specifically like the match or whether it was like an event or anything like that. But I just remember Virgil just turning around, punching him. And then basically they had the feud for the $1 million belt title, as you can see. And Virgil actually won that title and became the $1 million champion, which is only a few. I think it's only the $1 million man, Virgil, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and $1 million man's son. What was his name again?
Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase.
Junior. So not many people have held this, this prestigious title.
Funny enough, one more person has,
Who else?
Cameron Grimes.
Oh,
NXT when Ted DiBiase came back.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. NXT, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I remember they tried to reprise it there, but yeah, it just doesn't hold that type of weight no more when people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's crazy because when you actually think about it, $1 million now, in a multi-billion industry where you have so many different wrestlers that probably have reached $1 million. It's not like the way it was back in the days when the $1 million man was the $1 million man. Days, he was the $1
million
shoving money down your throat once he gives you the $1 million dream, which Virgil also adopted that move, the $1 million dream. And then pretty much I feel like he's, to do a solo run is quite difficult when you've been associated with someone, especially the likes of the $1 million man, which is, iconic. I think when you do have a duo like that, it's very difficult to kind of create your own path, especially the fact that he wasn't really a speaking type of entertainer wrestler. So then it was called upon where now you got to be on the mic now. You got to deliver promos. And I felt like that was kind of a weak point in his game. But listen, he was a superstar within his own right, created a legacy at WWE. Then the next stint for me was when he then became a henchman again, and that was with the NWO.
That's right.
The NWO, the original NWO, the black and white NWO, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, an array of different talent that was in that group. And once again, he was able to stand out with a plethora of like different wrestlers. You know, NWO just became like the Royal Rumble of groups.
NWO Wolfpack, man, them were going from back and forth.
It became just a madness, but he still stood out in amongst other superstars with a limited role in terms of like dialogue, but you still knew that was Virgil. You still knew who he was. You still knew what his role was about, and that was the Special Enforcer. And I feel like that title as the Special Enforcer should live long in wrestling history when it comes to Virgil.
I agree. I think now that it's funny, people always say, and I never really deep it, but it's true. You only really like, not that he hasn't received his flowers in the past, but you're gonna see the outpouring of love that will really give him the flowers that he wasn't given for other stuff, other parts of a bit of impact that he had. It's always the little bits that we forget that actually have a major impact. And it's sad that it has to be that way, because sometimes you want these guys to be looked at in the way that you hope they be looked at from the jump. But like I said, we ain't gonna be upset about that or dwell on that. Like we're doing here, we're celebrating. We're smiling about him because that's what he gave us. He gave us smiles. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. And even for me, I the most I do remember of watching him was in NWO, WCW, because WCW was really my first foray into wrestling.
Okay.
And my main guy was Goldberg, but
that terror,
that guy was beating up everybody in 2 minutes. But it was good for me to see someone like that, because if I'm being honest, seeing people like Virgil and wrestling made me feel like I could talk to others about wrestling because I've seen a black man in there. That's kind of like that for me. That was big for me. Because I mean, even back then, even now, it's still very white dominated, white, male, female. The biggest stars always tend to be white, the white champions, whatever. So that's why, for example, when Kofi Kingston and Big E win the WWE title, is such a even bigger celebration, because you hardly have any champions that look like them. You know what I mean? So
speak on it, because that segues like perfectly into the next part, which is black wrestlers and the legacy. So like for me, growing up, I was seeing the likes of Virgil, Coco Beware, some Junkyard Dogs, Kamala, like a rare wrestlers. I'm kind of maybe telling my age a little bit there, but like I grew up with those type of wrestlers, and like someone like Virgil would have been involved in the legacy and the pioneers of black wrestling entertainers coming up. So then we're going through history, and we're seeing the likes of like maybe like Booker T, like now I'm going into WCW. Just so many different black wrestlers and entertainers. And if it wasn't for the likes of your Virgils in the game, who else? My Ron Simmons. If we're not seeing these type of wrestlers or entertainers, then we're not going to get to see the likes of Trick Williams and the nowadays wrestlers. Montez and your Bianca Belairs and you know, like they are definitely pioneers of wrestlers, black wrestlers. Who would you kind of say was your favorite black wrestler growing up?
Oh, Booker T, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. That guy, his athleticism, his charisma, like it was so fun for me to see someone that genuinely, because the names that you mentioned first, they were great stars, but they were never given that sort of push to become a world champion. You know what I mean? Like they weren't given that place. Whereas I felt like Booker T, you couldn't not give him that place. He almost commanded it. And another person that really had an impact for me was Mark Henry. I was a lot older. I was a lot older with Mark Henry, but like
the world's strongest man,
bro. Like yeah, like the best way for me to talk about him is the fact that it got me so mad that it took so long for them to give him a world title.
I know, man. He was so in his bag when he was like the Hall of Pain. Like
even before that, I'm thinking, obviously he had the thing with John Cena, when the interview, the retirement speech.
Yeah.
But even before that, when he took out Batista and then was going on rivalries with The Undertaker, I'm thinking, you've got to give him a world title in that moment. It was that moment there. Because as young as I was thinking to myself, watching, like, if you can give someone like Edge is my guy, innit? Edge was an ultimate opportunity, was a fantastic heel.
Yeah.
And he deserved a title run, which he got. But then you on Smackdown, you got this guy who is just as much of a monster heel, who's hated by the fans, who's a brutalizer. Why is he not getting a title? You know what I'm saying?
That's what I do.
You know, the bars that he was dropping. What do you say? When I charge for air, you keep your bill paid. Like these are bars, man. These are bars. But yeah, those two in particular. Obviously, I've got so much love for the guys that came after Kofi, Biggie, the whole New Day. In fact, Xavier Woods as well. I'm not going to count them out. You know, and some of the young guys that are doing it, like you mentioned, Trick Williams. There's even this guy at AEW, Swerve Strickland. He's really
he was
talented as well.
He was at NXT, innit?
He was at NXT beforehand as well, and he, you know, different character, but you can tell he's really in his element right now. One of the few, for me, shining lights of that company. These are the guys that we need to really give more attention to in the future, because all of them have world title possibility, especially now where it's not the land of, you know, you must be a certain, or essentially you must be over 205 to be considered championship material. You have to be a contender and look like you can be a contender. So yeah, honestly, I'm just those two in particular, Booker T and Mark Henry for me, man. And
really,
you know,
I think for me, like I think like how you broken it down is, you know, you have the wrestlers that you would admire, but then there's the wrestlers that you grew up thinking it's realistic for them to be world champions. You know, so like The Rock is probably like a standout.
Of course,
one that for me growing up was like, yeah, I wanted to if I could see him being champ, then maybe I can be a champ, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like I could be a wrestler. So The Rock, Booker T, but my earlier ones were like Too Cold Scorpio. I like that guy because he was just he was so cool, man. High flying, and like when I'll be watching him, I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna do a backflip on my mum's bed later on because you know what I mean. But at the same time, just different wrestlers of them days. Like I said, Coco Beware. You know, I'm watching wrestling as a young boy. I'm not really kind of understanding everything, but I can identify that. Look, that's a black wrestler. Looks like me, and I like that wrestler there, you know what I mean? So representation is very much key when it comes to wrestling. And I think in nowadays, as much as we're seeing like, you know, the white superstars, you know, and stuff, the John Cena's and all that, Stone Cold Steve Austin's, Goldbergs and stuff like that, you know, we need to have more, you know, Rocks, Booker T's, you know, Big E's, all of this, which we've seen a lot of changes in WWE. And long for it to continue, but like I said, without the pioneers, without the guys like your Virgils, as we are celebrating today, you know, you don't get these guys. So Shout out to the Virgil family. Condolences. His legacy and what he's done in WWE and just wrestling as a whole will live on. And these are the moments that we celebrate. Unfortunately, it always takes for someone to pass. But hopefully, we don't keep it too long to celebrate our heroes and stuff like that, man. So, Virgil, we salute you, man. Salute you. All right, cool. Let's move on to the Elimination Chamber recap. I think if people watch back to our show last week, they will see we kind of predicted a few things on that, which was quite bait, to be fair, in terms of the setup. I don't think it really takes a super genius to kind of work out the way the road to WrestleMania was going to pan out. In the females, Elimination Chamber, we saw Becky Lynch winning the chamber to obviously set up for her and Rhea Ripley, which they had a few words on the last Raw edition of the show. In the men's chamber, we had who was it? Drew McIntyre?
Drew McIntyre, yes.
Drew McIntyre. We're gonna get into Drew McIntyre because I feel like this is some of his best work right now, man.
Bro, I'm just gonna say this. This is my one line here. If you don't give him the world title at WrestleMania, do one. That's it. That's it.
You know what I mean? Just to quickly just touch on the men's one. Let's just go with the men's chamber. A lot of back and forth that was happening there. I think nothing to say like, it's not what we expected. I think the few standout things during the match was Logan Paul and RKO, Randy Orton's kind of beef in the chamber. What was your feeling about that dynamics?
That's the one I didn't expect because he obviously cost Randy Orton the match in it. So that's the one I didn't expect. Because
do you think that's set up for a WrestleMania between them?
Yeah, you got LA Knight and AJ Styles, which I didn't expect LA Knight to win the chamber anyway, but AJ Styles busting in like that, that was big. Yeah, so that's fine. I thought Kevin Owens would go on to face Logan Paul. Well, he might do. He might be a triple threat. It might be a singles match. Who knows? But I think if you are Logan Paul, you've just gone and knocked out Randy like that. I think Randy's coming off the United States title, so I think Randy will beat him at WrestleMania. I don't know what that is good for Kevin Owens, but we'll see. But yeah, that would be. I think we both said on the show that Drew McIntyre should win the match. So last weekend we said that. So I think I've had that's
set up. So that's pretty much what Elimination Chamber was. I can't even lie to you. It wasn't the greatest in terms of like. I never really enjoyed it at the Elimination Chamber. Obviously, it does set up for the lastminute.com matches and stuff like that. But you kind of predict the dynamics and the road to WrestleMania and how it is post Royal Rumble anyway. I think just Elimination Chamber is just a filler in itself. So going on to Raw that went by, we saw obviously the head-to-head between Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. Now, bro, the promo in this, I loved it. I loved it. Becky Lynch talking about how she's the backbone of the women's division, and then Rhea Ripley coming up with that line where if you think that you're the backbone, I ain't behind you. Mommy is always on top.
Yes, she is. And there's no man that will ever complain about that. But anyway, I digress.
What's your thoughts with this with this matchup between Rhea Ripley and
I'm calm with it. I think a lot of people were obviously like, I think it's new generation of fans, isn't it? When they see a wrestler in the main event of a Mania maybe 3 times or more, they start to be like, do they need to be there? But realistically, who else is you gonna put in front of Rhea? You know what I mean? She beat Charlotte for the title. And then since then, she's beaten Nia Jax, she's beaten this person, that person. So Becky Lynch is literally the one to beat. And for Becky Lynch, she's had a year where she's been up and down with results. So if she's going to prove that she's still the man, she needs to beat Mommy, who is arguably the most dominant women's champion ever. Like, you know what I mean? So this is how long she's held it and how anytime there's a challenge, she just deals with it. You know, Raquel Gonzalez, this person, that, but Rodriguez now, Gonzalez is NXT. Rodriguez now, anyone that's coming her way, she's dealt with them, you know. And, you know, it's not just the people you expect her to be, it's people that maybe match up to her in size of height or build or whatever. So you got pretty much the person that beat or first main event with women and became the double champion, Becky two titles, or two champ, whatever it was.
Two titles, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you know, it's like it's final boss versus final boss. Let's be real. So, you know, because other than that, the only person left for Rhea is probably Bianca Belair or Jade Cargill, but they're going to be on a different brand doing their own thing. So, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I think it works perfectly.
But don't you think Nia Jax's deserving of entering the fray here?
She will get there eventually. She'll get there eventually. She doesn't need it now. The thing about her is her comeback is still relatively new.
Yeah.
So I'm not like obviously because she's been in the company before. I'm not against putting her in there, but you can have her come for a SummerSlam. She doesn't need to be now, and she'll continue to dominate and piss people off, and that's what she does. She's damn good at it as well. Actually, this run is a lot better. So let the run continue, because I wanted it to get to a stage where, because she just lost to Rhea Ripley at Elimination Chamber, so now putting her in the world title for will be a bit, you know, for me personally. I think it makes sense to just let her continue to build, maybe have a match with each of them again, beat them, no title on the line, and then go to SummerSlam and just become the Queen Bee again. And I think it'll work fine.
I'm hearing that there's rumors that Rhea Ripley's scheduled to get married, so she's
engaged to Buddy Murphy, isn't it?
Yeah. So maybe that might be a point where she takes a bit of a hiatus. I don't know how that would look, maybe in terms of even just the Judgment Day itself, which is funny enough, Judgment Day doing some great work. We obviously spoke about Gunther needing a challenger, and then up steps Dirty Dominic Mysterio challenging Gunther, and it's just like, you know, like when they're face to face, you can just see in Gunther's face, it's like, who is this puny little runt trying to really step up to me? But Dom's not backing down. He feels like he can go after that, you know, the IC title.
The thing about Dominic Mysterio is he's the cowardly heel. Gunther is a great heel, but he's a dominant heel. He doesn't back down from anybody because he's not afraid of anybody. Whereas Dom's a weasel. Coward. Yeah, he's a weasel who has backup in abundance behind him. So if he can win a title, he can potentially beat Gunther. Beating him one-on-one clean is never going to be setting salt to anybody.
They couldn't do that.
Happen.
But that would be a waste of a run.
Exactly. But if he weasels his way in, they somehow get Finn and JD and Damian Priest and even Rhea, because she's already beaten up some men anyway, to mess with the other two members of Imperium, and he somehow sneaks a win. It's not impossible. It's not impossible.
Man. I couldn't bear that. It will make for great wrestling, but I couldn't bear it, man. The weasel to become the IC champ. Man,
I'm here for it. I'm here for it personally. I'm here for it.
Oh man. And then moving on to another great segment, which I felt was between Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
There was a part within their dialogue or promo, whatever you want to call it, where Drew McIntyre is just kind of breaking it down and saying, listen, like, I'm gonna beat you in it. That's without a doubt. I'm gonna beat you, but just chill out on this bloodline, hunting down the bloodline business, because when the bloodline, you keep hunting out of them, you keep getting involved in their business, they're gonna come after us in it. They're gonna, you know, as I'm beating you up, they're gonna interfere in the match, cost you the title, and, you know, tarnish my win. And I like the way Drew was just dropping that. It's like, look, I'm gonna win, but I just don't want my win to be tarnished. Like, I want to win on my own right. Like, Leave
Facts.
the bloodline alone. Like,
Facts.
what was your take on that, man?
I don't know. This is why I'm liking him, because he basically everything that. This is why I was so happy that Triple H is basically taking over creative, because what he's done is said, look, this is a guy that's been screwed over by them since Clash at the Castle. One way or another, they have gone to a point where he's just had enough. This isn't Drew McIntyre being a bad guy, just be a bad guy. It's Drew McIntyre being a bad guy with a purpose. And anytime, whether it's the Bloodline or Damian Priest or CM Punk, he's not doing it to say, oh, I hate this guy, you guys should hate him too. He's saying, don't forget what these people have done. Like, you know, if you're a wrestler, why are you so obsessed with them? Look what they did to me. You're gonna let them do that to you. Or
what they've done to everyone.
Exactly. Or we see CM Punk, like, guys, he walked out on you guys and he came back, went somewhere else, and he walked out on them as well. Like, is this really your guy? Like, there's logic behind the anger. It makes perfect sense. He's not just what they used to call him when he was first a heel. They just called him the Scottish psychopath because he's been out beating people, brutalized. But there's more to Drew McIntyre than that. So that's why I like this. And you know, he still does little digs here and there. He's made it very clear they don't like CM Punk. You know, he said in the promo he got a burst eardrum, and the doctor was like, "You might not make it to WrestleMania because with this injury." And then he goes, well, who do you think I am, CM Punk? Like, that's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for, because sometimes the era is different. We're supposed to hate heels, and we are hating the heels now. It's good. The business is going exactly how it should, but at the same time, the heels also have to have a purpose as well. He's got his purpose, and he's saying it, and he's right. He's right about the bloodline situation, because if Seth Rollins, I mean, Cody Rhodes is really involved, obviously. So if Seth Rollins gets too involved, they're not going to stop you winning because they just want to stop you winning. They're stopping you winning to make a point. But Drew McIntyre doesn't want to see those guys around the ring with him. He doesn't want to see them. He's not bothered by them anymore. And if he ever crosses paths with them, it's because he's going after the title that Roman has. That's what he's about. So he hasn't really changed. He hasn't changed his story. He wants to be a champion. He doesn't like the bloodline. He's not agreeing with their business. But rather than now, you know, trying to do things, he's got his eye on the prize, isn't it? Yeah, man, he's not having it anymore, and that's how it should be. So, you know, I'm very happy that they've built his character this way, because, you know, I don't think it should go any other way. Personally, I think that the only way you do it is like this, and if you don't do it like this, then putting him in a match against Seth Rollins wouldn't make any sense. So,
yeah, man, I can't wait. I can't wait until
there's one before I shut up. There's one thing that he said that was very key. That he's one message I feel like he's trying to relay to Seth Rollins that Seth Rollins the character wasn't getting, is your obsession with stopping Roman Reigns is what's going to lose you everything. That's where I think because Drew McIntyre, when he lost the Clash of the Castle, he was so angry that he lost in front of his family, his friends, the way he did. So he was on a wild goose chase. But you're not. Once you lose to Roman, you don't get back to Roman unless, like Cody, you win the Rumble.
Yeah,
they don't give you a second, third chance. It just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So you didn't even lose to him the last time you faced him. It was a DQ because he just held the submission too long and he beat you up instead of, you know, making you tap out or whatever. That's Seth Rollins. And, you know, ever since then, not that you've been obsessed, but you've seen they sort of
rise.
Yeah, they've risen, and there's been a little intertwining with your rivalry because you wanted to face Cody, but now you're not facing Cody because of the Rock's involvement and Roman and obviously the fans. You've taken that L, that's fine. You're going to face Drew McIntyre instead, but you still want to somehow deal with them as well. You're killing yourself here. Like, Drew McIntyre is not concerned with your health, but at the same time, he wants to make sure that when I beat you, there are no excuses.
No excuses.
That's the kind of heel that you want, you know, because most heels would be like, oh, if you're at 50%, yeah, sure, I'll kick your ass, absolutely. He's saying, no,
he wants outright.
Yeah, I
No
want you
excuses.
100%. Don't give me excuses. I want you 100%, so that when I beat you, you understand who you lost to. And faces can do that as well, and that's why it's such a good dynamic. Because a strong face will say, "I won't touch you for the next 2 weeks," so that when I beat you, you know I've always been better than you. I'll take that. A face can do that. A heel can do that. What they call a tweener can do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's good. It's
Yeah,
good
man,
business. Good
I'm
business.
looking forward to that, man. And then also off the back of that, I'm just looking forward to how that sets up when the CM Punk comes back and with Drew McIntyre. As much as I was looking forward to Seth Rollins and CM Punk, but CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, that really works, man.
Money. It's money.
That's money. Last but not least, it's building up, it's cooking. I'm not really too happy with the whole Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, and then the Rock also, the beef that's going on. But let's just see how it's going to work out. But we have Cody Rhodes, that he's going one-on-one on the mic with the Advocate, Paul Heyman. And not only on this occasion does he have the direct line to Roman Reigns, call Roman Reigns. He's also got the direct line to The Rock, call The Rock. Paul Heyman, man, a living legend, definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. What did you think about the back and forth between him and Cody Rhodes? Cody Rhodes saying, he's not fearing the bloodline. The bloodline are not hunting him. He's hunting the bloodline. He offered out The Rock. He wants to challenge The Rock before WrestleMania. Like, where do you see the storyline going before WrestleMania?
If there was another pay-per-view before WrestleMania, then I think you'd have your tag team match, or maybe The Rock versus Cody. But what I think is going to happen is The Rock will probably, I think they'll probably do an angle where they say, if Cody can get past Roman, then he can face The Rock. But that's where it's a bit dangerous and actually might work in the favor of the story that they were trying to tell originally with The Rock and Roman about the head of the table. Because why should Roman be the prequel to The Rock if you're the head of the table, if you're the tribal chief? You know what I'm saying? If you're the guy, why does he have to beat me to get to you? What's that dynamic? I think it's a bit different. So me personally, I mean, I don't want to speculate. I don't know what's going on, but I'm captivated by it, and But what I will say is, I think if Cody does beat Roman Reigns, I think you're gonna see an angle where Solo, Jimmy, and The Rock challenge his position at the head of the table and maybe start siding with The Rock instead. I don't know who would be the face in that situation, because you could do obviously The Rock being The Rock. You don't have to.
Let me scoot up a little bit closer because I'm intrigued by this.
It could be The Rock. It could be The Rock being The Rock again as a face, no problem.
Okay.
Or you could, because it has been, I've seen speculation about the WWE considering turning Roman face again, because he's been a heel for a long time now. People forget how long he's been a heel for.
A hot minute now, yeah.
If you are going to make him the monster face, you could have the person who challenges his position. And the thing about The Rock, which will always work in the rivalry, is because The Rock's never going to be there all the time. I know Roman's not there all the time, but you could work the fact that Roman was there busting his ass to make sure the family was in that position, that he can also take some days off and take it easy, but he bust his ass to get to that position. He didn't,
it wasn't just given to him.
Yeah.
No, I hear that, man. I hear that. No, it's gonna be interesting. Look, I'm not gonna totally dismiss it, because I'll be a fool to just think to myself, this can't work or whatever. And I know that WWE, Triple H, and all the creatives, and maybe even The Rock himself now entering back into WWE in some capacity. I think The Rock makes another appearance in this Smackdown coming in it this Friday. I believe. So it's going to be interesting to see what The Rock is cooking, as they say. Uh, but yeah, man, it's gonna be real interesting and something to look forward to. For those that don't know, obviously Smackdown is on Friday. So obviously by the time you watch this, the edition of Smackdown will be out. So we'll update you with that on the next show to see what is popping with that episode. And hopefully it kind of unravels and breaks down more to what the whole bloodline, The Rock, Cody Rhodes, that whole entire storyline, how it is heading into WrestleMania. So the road to WrestleMania is still cooking up. But yeah, just to round it up, man, just once again, we're sending out our flowers, condolences. It's a celebration of is he a Hall of Famer, Virgil? Because I was checking, I don't think he made Hall of Fame, did he?
I don't think he is, you know.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. I could be wrong, but I don't remember
Yeah,
him.
if he isn't, because
Hall
I
of
don't
Fame.
think he is, but if he isn't, then definitely he should be a Hall of Famer. And it's just unfortunate once again, these achievements and awards are given once someone's passed. But look, man, he's legendary status. So once again, man, shout out to Virgil and everything that you've done in wrestling. We appreciate everything, and salute to him. And with that being said, we're going to round it off for today. Another episode of Do You Still Watch Wrestling, where we try and give you our perspective and breakdown of wrestling to help you to catch up. So if you don't watch wrestling, then hopefully by the time you watch the show, you're like, yeah, man, I'm going to get back into it. And if you still watch wrestling, then you understand our passion between myself and Kojo, and how we always just, whenever something happens, man, I'll be onto the phone to go and be like, yo, man, what is going on here? We need to jump on. Do you still watch wrestling and chat about it? Any last words, Kojo? Ooh. Maybe I'm gonna have the last word. There was little tech difficulties there, but yeah, man. For those that are watching, appreciate it. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. There we got him back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I don't.
Ooh, tech. Anyway, I'll round up the show. I appreciate you all. Until the next time here on Do You Still Watch Wrestling? I'm out. Peace.